Hey, what's going on, everybody? This is Sam Kwok here, one of the Kwok brothers, and in this video, I'm going to give you the latest update and details about the Paycheck Protection Program, also known as the PPP. Now, you might be a first-time borrower, meaning you fit inside the first draw category, or you might already have the Paycheck Protection Program and you're looking to get the second draw. So in either cases, I'm going to give you the application instruction as well as the details on loan forgiveness, who qualifies, how to apply, and what are some of the pitfalls you need to avoid. So stick around to the end of the video. Alright, so whether you are a first draw applicant, meaning this is the first time you're applying for the Paycheck Protection Program, or the second draw, meaning you already have a PPP loan, but you're looking to get some more, of course, because businesses are suffering right now and there's a lot of unexpected expenses that you might be dealing with. So if you guys want the latest changes and updates about the Paycheck Protection Program, do subscribe to our channel and hit the bell notification icon, because I will be providing more updates as they come about the Paycheck Protection Program. So to give you guys the visuals, I got my tablet here, I got all my notes, I'm gonna break down exactly what's happening with the Paycheck Protection Program. Now, just to want to reiterate this, that the Paycheck Protection Program is not the same thing as the EIDL. Now, the EIDL is the Economic Injury Disaster Loan. It's a separate program, but run by the same organization, the Small Business Administration, SBA. So with PPP, the loan is forgivable. If you're looking for the grant, that's on the EIDL side. So this is not what that is. I've separate videos about the EIDL grant and the EIDL loan. I'm exclusively talking about the Paycheck Protection Program. So right away, if you are looking at my tablet, in fact, I'm going to turn this way, horizontal. There we go. So right off the bat, now again, I'm dealing with first and second draw here. It is forgivable, so that's a big thing, and I think a lot of people know that by now. So it is forgivable, but you have to use the funds for specific expenses for it to be forgivable. So you can't just go buy a new car and expect, the loan to be forgiven. It's not how it works. So it is forgiven, first of all, if you use it for payroll costs. So this is to pay your employees. You might be your own employee. In fact, if you're self-employed, maybe you drive Uber, maybe you have a side gig, you do DoorDash, maybe you do wedding photography on the weekend, and you make a little bit of side hustle money, then you are your own employee. Now, 60% of the funds have to be allocated to payroll cost, meaning if you receive $10,000 as part of your Paycheck Protection loan, then $6,000 of that has to go towards paying payroll, has to be allocated for that. Second thing is rent and mortgage payment. Now, this isn't just any rent or mortgage payment, this has to be related to your business. So it can't just be your personal rent or personal mortgages, it has to go with your office lease or office mortgage payment. Third thing is utilities. Again, same thing with rent and mortgage payment, has to be for your company, it cannot be just for random utility for your own personal residence. Now, these are the new additions that were added recently. A couple weeks ago, the Corona Relief Package was passed, but these are the new changes. So check this out. The first thing is PPE. Now, PPE, not to be confused with PPP, PPE is the personal protection equipment. Now, this has right to do with COVID-19 protection. So if your business, or you as the Uber driver or DoorDash driver, or as a wedding photographer on the weekend, if you purchase masks, barriers, certain equipment to protect yourself and your employees from COVID-19, you would qualify, that expense will qualify for forgiveness. So buy barriers, buy those acrylic shields, right? You go to grocery stores and you see that a lot. So PPE, any monetary expenditures for PPE also could be forgiven and counted towards forgiveness. Second thing is property damage due to civil unrest. Now, 2020, unfortunately, we saw a lot of civil unrest, a lot of protests and riots. So if your business was damaged because of these civil unrest, you can use the PPP money to go in and take care of the property damages and repair and provide remedy for that. So that's the second big thing that was changed in the last go around in terms of the new COVID relief package. Third thing is operational expenses. Now, this can be kind of confusing. The way that SBA, or at least the bill defines it, if you guys want to read the bill, I'll leave that link down below. But the way the bill defines it is that if you spend money on, let's say, payment processing software, such as, if you collect credit card payments, right, whether it's Square or PayPal, if they charge you fees, then you can also count that towards for operational expenses, accounting software, bookkeeping software, certain CRM expenses, software expenses, right? My company here in the office, we use a lot of software. So all the software dollars can be used towards forgiveness of the Paycheck Protection Program. So operating expenses kind of fit in those things. Things are absolutely necessary and essential to keep your business running. And fourth thing is supplier costs. So if your business relies on certain raw materials, maybe you own a t-shirt making company. So if you bought t-shirts to obviously rebrand or do what you do best with t-shirts, and you plan on selling them, then that is part of cost of goods sold. So therefore, supplier cost fits in raw material. If you buy wood, steel, metal, any materials that is required for your business to run on, that is also supplier cost. So as long as you use your funds, your Paycheck Protection Program funds within these 7 major categories, there are a few minor things for restaurants and accommodation, but for most of you guys, if you use these 7 items, then you're gonna be good to go. And again, payroll has to be at least 60%. You used to be 75, that was the CARES Act. Now, sometime in June, they made a change to 60%, which allows more businesses to spend on other items, just like what we discussed below. Okay, so those are what qualifies for forgiveness. Now, who qualifies? Now, I'm going to address the first draw first. First draw first. Second draw, I'll talk to you guys in just a sec, but stick around because there's some important changes about the second draw as well. So if you are a first-time draw, meaning this is the first time you're going to borrow money from the Paycheck Protection Program, the first thing is that you must be your business has to have less than 500 employees. You must be a sole proprietor, 1099 contractors, or self-employed, but I also I'm going to include LLCs and corporation in there. So sole proprietor, simply put, is that if you don't have an LLC, don't have a corporation, you're just going out there doing Uber driving or weekend wedding photography, you are a sole proprietor. But you can also be a 1099 contractor, meaning you may work with a company on an ongoing basis, but you don't get a W-2. You get a 1099. You are an independent contractor. So you also technically qualify as well as a candidate for the Paycheck Protection Program. The next thing is self-employed. If you work from home or you have side gig, you also qualify as well. LLCs and corporations, of course, you qualify. I have a corporation and an LLC, so there you go. Which, by the way, the question that I get quite a bit is, Sam, can I apply for multiple EIDL and multiple Paycheck Protection Program loans if I have multiple businesses? Well, I'll have a separate video about that pretty soon here. I'll probably end up filming it Thursday and I'll release it then. But there's some interesting, really confusing rules, but I think I've kind of figured out how the SBA deals with that. Okay. Also, you could be a 501c. You might be a non-for-profit. You might be a church. You might be a mosque, a synagogue. You can also apply for the Paycheck Protection Program as well, or a tribal concern. This has to do with Native American businesses. Okay. Now, remember, you are your own employee. Okay, unless you just collect dividends, which is important. So this is why you may have to have a conversation with your accountant or your bookkeeper about how you are going to be treated as the business owner. So keep that in mind. Now, a couple of documents to prepare, and this might be a checklist for you guys, and this is really important because you don't want to delay your application process because you don't have one or more of these documents. The first thing is payroll statements. Gotta have payroll statements. So if you have employees, chances are you run payroll every bi-weekly or monthly. Your payroll software is most likely going to generate this report for you, so all you have to do is download and print it. I personally use Gusto, which is a fantastic payroll software, which, by the way, if you guys want to use what I use, I'll leave that link down below so you guys can go and sign up for Gusto as well. But phenomenal tool for payroll services. So need your payroll statement. Second thing is 2 years of tax returns. So right now, most businesses probably didn't file their 2020 taxes way too early. In fact, most people don't even already have a W-2 or 1099 collected. So 2018 and 2019 will do. If by chance you're watching this sometime February, March, and you already have your 2020 tax returns, then that would be very useful as well. Also, if you do quarterly returns like me, which, by the way, for me, Gusto does that for me. Bring your Form 941, 944, and 940 to the bank when applying for your Paycheck Protection Program. For LLCs, you're going to need your article of organization and the operating agreement. This is that little piece of paper that you filed with your state when you first open your LLC account. And then the second thing is for corporations, you need your articles of corporation and your bylaws, which your attorney or your legal team should have that. Okay. The next thing is EIN letter from the IRS. So if you use an EIN instead of a social security number, you should have gotten a letter from the IRS or at least a digital copy from the IRS that says what your EIN, your employer identification number, is. Next thing, copies of ID of the owners. And if they have more than 20% equity of that company, you're going to need their IDs. Okay. And the last but not least, if you're doing a second draw, you're going to need a 2019 and 2020 profit and loss statement for your business. This is mainly to prove that you've lost at least 30% of your revenue, which is a qualification for second draw. I'll get to that in just 1 second. So that is what you'll need for documentation-wise. You're going to need, where'd it go? There we go. So you're going to need those documents, and what I'll do is I'll compile them down below so you're not having to read my handwriting and try to decipher what it is, right? Okay, so that's the documents. Now, as far as due date to apply, you must apply on or before March 31st, 2021. There's a likelihood that if the funds run out, then it's done, it's over. If all the money goes away, if all the money has been dispersed, then it could end before March 31st. This is one of the reasons why you may want to kind of, hurry up, right, to apply for that. And application process, I'm going to go and show you how to apply for the first round. I'm going to go and turn my screen around and show you how to apply for the first round of Paycheck Protection Program. So let's go and turn around and see how it works. All right, guys, so I went and flipped my screen around, so you should be seeing the application for the Paycheck Protection Program. Again, this is round 1. I'm going to have a separate video for round 2 as well. Just as a reminder, I am not an accountant. I don't represent the SBA. I'm not an attorney, so please consult with your lenders and your professionals before implementing anything that I share with you today. Okay, so right on the top here, this is the application. It's a very simple application. It's 5 pages, but really the page 3 to 5 is just information that you'll need to be able to apply successfully. So if you are a sole proprietor, meaning you do Uber, you do DoorDash, you have a weekend business, then that is it. Sole proprietor or self-employed individual. You might also be a 1099 independent contractor, meaning you work for a company on a consistent basis, but you're not considered an employee. You get 1099s at the end of the year. Okay. You might be a partnership. So 1 or 2 more partnerships. That's for you. Corporation, C or S Corp, you should know what that is if you have filed for a corporation, or you might be an LLC. You could also be in a 501c not-for-profit. So go and pick what you are. If you don't know the answer, then ask your attorney, your bookkeeper, or you may have to do some research as far as what you are. But by default, if you don't know, then you are either a sole proprietor or a self-employed individual. Okay, DBA, which is, so for me, our business legal name is Novo Elite Incorporated, but we do our business as the Kwok Brothers. Okay, so your corporation name, your LLC name might be completely different, right? You might be, John Smith, but you might be running your business as John's Awesome Cookies, right? You may have a cookie business, and that's what your business is called. That'll be up to you. Years of establishment. So if you have started your business, so I started my business back in 2015. Go ahead and type in what that is. NAICS code, it has to do with what industry you're in. And you can find out what this is by simply Googling it. So you can ask, what is, here, I'm putting in Google right here. What is my NAICS code? Okay. So you can use this tool to find out what industry you're in, as well as what your NAICS code will be. So you can go and search, okay, search tool. And it'll basically break down by broad category, but you're just going to put, I'm in consulting business. Okay. All right. Hit enter, and there it is. So do you do HR consulting? Do you do administrative management and general consulting service? And they'll tell you what the code is. There it is, 8742. So I'm going to I do management consulting service, and I'm going to put it in here. That's it. Boom. Okay. Most of you guys are not going to be 500 employees, of course, if you're doing second, but we're not talking about the second draw, right? So you put your business address. Okay, just gonna put a sample one here. This is your EIN or your social security. So if you are a sole proprietor, you're gonna put of course, your social security. So I'm just gonna put random numbers here. Okay, so apparently there's no dashes. So I'm gonna there we go, boom. Business phone number. If you don't have one, that'd be yours, okay? All right. Primary contact, that would be you, or if you have multiple staff and whoever is in charge of this application, that's going to be for you. Okay. Email address, that should be pretty simple. Okay. Average monthly payroll. This is what I've been talking about. Very, very important. You got to be super accurate when it comes to your average monthly payroll. And again, it does help that if you have a software tool like Gusto to help you do the payroll, but your average monthly payroll is basically how much you take home on a monthly given basis. Of course, this has to include all of your employees, right? So if you have, let's say, 4 employees and you pay them $5,000 average monthly payroll each, you put $5,000 here, okay, times 2.5. So I'm going to take my calculator out, okay, 5,000. Oh, yeah, so this is actually 20,000 since we're paying 4 employees $5,000 each every month, right? So times 4, we got 20,000 times 2.5. That would be $50,000. If you already apply for the EIDL, you're also going to include the EIDL loan in there as well. So if you got $100,000 EIDL, throw that $100,000 number in there. You do not want to include advance, so that's the up to $10,000 grant that you could potentially receive. So don't add that in there. That won't count. Okay. So in this example, I have 4 employees. Okay. I am applying for payroll costs. Okay. You have to do that because obviously 60%, 65 or 60%, yeah, or more of your PPP funds has to go to payroll cost. I'm also going to be using this towards rent and utilities. I'm going to also do cover operation expenditures. I'm not dealing with any rights. I'm going to go right to worker protection PPE, and that is it. Okay, so you're gonna put your owner name, John Smith. You're the CEO, or you might be the owner. Okay, 100% ownership, and you put your social security number in there. Don't put your EIN because you already put your EIN up here for your business. This is for you, so this is your social security. Okay, and of course your personal address. Now here's some yes or no questions. You have to be truthful and honest. Please do not lie. Lying is of the devil. Okay, right? We don't want to lie. So you want to answer these questions, read them thoroughly. If you don't understand anything, contact your accountant, your professionals, your attorneys to get those answers. I am not going to be able to, of course, clarify anything here because I don't practice law, right? I don't practice tax. I'm not a tax professional. So obviously, you're going to answer questions like, hey, has the applicant or the owners of the applicant or any business owned or controlled by them ever obtained or direct guaranteed loan from SBA? So I'm going to do no. Debarred or proposed to bar, but no, it just means that I'm barred from receiving in federal. Actually, that might be wrong. So let me check here. Declared ineligible, voluntarily excluded from participating in transaction with. Okay, so it just basically means that have I been banned from working with the federal government or involved in any bankruptcy? Okay, let's see. Is the applicant or any owner of the applicant an owner of the other businesses or have common management, including management agreement with any other business? Yes. So if you do, then say yes. Okay. Did the applicant receive SBA economic disaster loan? Ooh, there it is. Did you receive any EIDL loan between January 31st, 2020 to April 3rd, 2020? If yes, then you have to, of course, provide information on that. I did not. Okay. Is the application a felon? Yeah, so any indictment, criminal information, arraignment. So that'll be nope. And yes, I've confirmed. So I put my, so I'm using John Smith, so I'm going to put JS. Any felony involving fraud, bribery, embezzlement, or false statement? Nope. So I'm going to put initial there. Is the United States the principal place? Yes. Okay. Is the applicant a franchise? Most of you guys probably won't be, but if you own a franchise, then you say yes. Okay. Is the franchise listed? So obviously this is a no and non-applicable. Okay. And down below, you're just going to initial pretty much all these things. Again, more things to make sure that you understand, there's certain stipulations, right? So you want to initial these after reading them. Please do read them because you don't just want to initial and get in trouble down the road. Okay. Print name, title, date, sign, pretty simple. It's not incredibly difficult. But again, you want to prepare some of the other documents I talked about, like tax returns, P&L, and things like that. Okay, so that is the first round, and this is how basically on a general form how to apply for the first round PPP. All right, so welcome back, everybody. Hope that helped as far as how to apply for the Paycheck Protection Program. Again, once again, I'm not an attorney, I'm not an accountant, I don't represent the SBA or any of the lenders, so make sure you guys do your own consulting with those professionals. Now, a couple things that I get as far as question goes is, what if I don't get the forgiveness of the Paycheck Protection Program? What if I end up getting the loan and I have to stick around to pay for it? Well, if you do end up not getting the loan forgiven, which if you follow the guidelines, you should have most of your debt or your Paycheck Protection Program forgiven. But in a case where you don't get the forgiveness for some reason, it's not a bad program, even as a loan. So check this out, okay? So it's using 1% interest. I mean, come on, that's pretty close to free money if you ask me, right? So 1% interest, 5-year term, if you got your Paycheck Protection Program after June 5th, 2020, which for most of you guys applying as a first-time drawer, you guys won't even have to worry about that. So 5-year loan, 1% interest, no collateral or personal guarantee. That's what it stands for. PG stands for personal guarantee. So if by some chance that your Paycheck Protection Program does not get forgiven for some reason, not really the end of the world since you're not paying a whole much of interest, but it's still something that you have to pay back, which is not a good thing. So, but this is one of the reasons why, guys, I'm telling you, you got to get your documents in order. One of the other suggestions that my accountant has told me is if you get your Paycheck Protection Program loan approved, put it in a separate account away from the rest of your operational account. You may even go as far as opening a separate checking account just in case the SBA or your lender does an audit on how you spent the money on the Paycheck Protection Program. It's pretty clear. I mean, it's not having to siphon through a pile of needles trying to find the answers. It might be easy for you to just go and open a separate checking account and just it's easy to track what is what. Okay. So that is it for the first round. Now, if you are looking to get your second round of Paycheck Protection Program, meaning you already got your PPP, maybe it's already been forgiven, but maybe you may need some more. Maybe you're struggling right now and you're wondering, can I get some more of the Paycheck Protection Program? And the answer is yes, you can get what's called a second round. Okay, second round follows a little bit of different rule. Now, with second round, who qualifies? I'm going to zoom here. There we go. Who qualifies is if you must have already received your first round. If you did not, you are a first round borrower. You must also have less than 300 employees, okay, which is the first round is 500, this is 300. So it's really targeting businesses that might be smaller and more nimble. And also you must demonstrate a 25%. So I apologize, I mentioned 30%. According to SBA, it's 25%. So you must show that you lost 25% of gross receipt, gross revenue in your business when compared to the same quarter of 2019 versus 2020. So here's what that means. I don't kind of get confusing. So quarter is about 3 months, January to March, April to June, and so on. So let's say from January to March 2019, your business, let's say, did $100,000. Okay, not too bad, right? In 2020, okay, let's say in January to March 2020, let's say it dropped to $75,000, okay? Oh, there's an extra, there we go, okay? So now you have a 25% reduction. Now what you may want to show is actually not Jan to March, it might actually be more like April to June 2020 because that's when COVID was kind of like, a new thing and everyone's freaking out about it. So you may want to, instead of doing January to March, it actually might be more accurate if you did like April to, June, right? June. And then same thing here, April to June of 2020. That way it's a little bit more accurate, right? Because I think April was when everyone's kind of freaking out and everyone's like, oh, what's going on here, right? I mean, businesses are getting shut down. I mean, it was just bloodbath, right? So if you show a 25% reduction, you will qualify for the second round of Paycheck Protection Program, unless there's some other caveats that your business may follow for specific reasons. As far as the loan part goes, if for some reason your second round of Paycheck Protection Program does not get forgiven, it's the same term as the first draw, 1% interest, 5-year term, meaning you got to pay it back within 5 years, and there is no collateral or no personal guarantee. Now, the question is for second round, This also applies for first round, I believe. How much can I receive for round 2? How much money can I apply for? Now, the answer that I got from the SBA is that it's 2.5x of the average monthly payroll up to $2 million. So they're gonna take your average payroll and see how much you spend on payroll and give you 250% of your payroll, so 2.5x, unless if you are in a restaurant or an accommodation business, such as a hotel, a motel, or maybe some beds and breakfast, you may qualify up to 3.5x, 350% of your monthly payroll, average monthly payroll for the loan amount. So obviously food and hotel businesses were hit harder than some of the maybe other businesses. Therefore, that's the reasoning behind that. Again, the due date for the second round is March 31st, just like the first round. You must apply on or before March 31st or whenever the funds run out. Once the funds run out, sorry, it's gone. So you won't be able to do much about that. So I'm gonna go cover how to apply for the second round because it looks a little bit different. There's some similarities, but a little bit different as far as how to apply for the second round. So I'm gonna go and turn around, share my screen with you guys and show you how to apply for the second round of Paycheck Protection Program. All right, so welcome to my screen once again. And now this one, I'm gonna show you what to do if you were doing a second draw. So if you already got your first draw PPP, what happens for the second time you're looking to get the Paycheck Protection Program. Now it's very similar. I've already gone through this on the first round, but let me go and highlight what are the differences between the first round and second round. The first round is now including 3.5x if for food and accommodation businesses. Also cannot exceed 300 employees. Okay. Of course, you might be checking these boxes if you are applying for these specific expenses, and you can be forgiven under those expenses. Also, include your first draw SBA loan number. You're going to need this. Okay. You're going to need that for your application. And of course, the big and major thing, let me draw my, there we go. The next and big major thing here is that they want to see the gross receipt differences, right? This is something that we talked about earlier. What does the 2019 gross receipt looks like versus 2020? They have to be same exact quarter. You can't do third quarter 2019 versus fourth quarter 2020. Okay, it has to be the same exact quarter. So that's really the same. That's really the main difference as far as the second draw PPP application. Again, there's some more initials that you have to do that are slightly different. That is all basically going to say, hey, you know, you didn't do anything legal for the first round, right? You're still eligible for the second round and so on. So it's really the same thing. There's some little subtle differences that I've pointed out here. So that's pretty much how you apply for the second draw. If you want to see the instructions for some of the other things, then rewind and go and watch my first round PPP application instruction, because I go and cover all of these separately. But you may have seen this already, so you may not even have to need an instruction for the top part. Really, just the lower part where you have to go and clarify what the difference was between a specific quarter in 2019 and another quarter in 2020. Okay. All right, so hopefully that helped as far as navigating through the second round PPP loan application. Now, there's some couple helpful tips I have for you guys. If you are receiving less than $150,000 for your Paycheck Protection Program, fortunately, there is a fast track to forgiveness in a single page application to get your loan forgiven. So it's a very quick process. If you're applying for more than $150,000 or you received more than $150,000, I believe it's a more of an extensive process. You're going to want to do some more digging to see how much you spent for what purposes in your business. Second thing is, again, I recommended this earlier in the video, where I would recommend to keep your funds separate from your operating account. Meaning, let's say you received $100,000 from your Paycheck Protection lender, you want to keep that in a separate checking account and use that money exclusively for the things that you can be forgiven for, right? Like payroll, utilities, PPE, property damage due to civil unrest. Those are some of the things you want to kind of keep it aside versus some of the other things that you're doing in your business. That way, when you go in and turn your statements or you turn in your proof to your lender, I mean, it's a pretty clean, transaction record to show that all the transactions from the fund has been used towards the forgiveness of the loan, or the appropriate expense items for the forgiveness of the loan. The third thing is that be accurate as possible when it comes to calculating your average monthly payroll, because it is actually up to you, the borrower. You are certifying as the borrower under perjury that your monthly average payroll is accurate. Because if it's not, then that may be grounds for where you may not qualify for the loan forgiveness. So be as accurate as possible. This is why I love using software like Gusto to help as far as tracking what your monthly average payroll is and what's not. So with that being said, friends, I hope that this video helped. I'll have some more videos about, can I apply for multiple PPP if I have multiple businesses, if there's other updates. Maybe there's an extension of the deadline, or maybe the PPP money ran out. I will be giving you guys the latest update as to what happens to the Paycheck Protection Program. So with that being said, go and subscribe down below. Click on the red button to subscribe, as well as if you enjoyed and felt like this was helpful, do help us out by smashing the like button, turn that like button to blue, and of course, if you have any questions, leave them down below. So friends, thank you so much for watching and hope this helped, and share this video with other businesses that might need it. I'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.